Hey everybody, it's Bill with Franklin Loan Center, and today I wanted to talk about a topic that comes up every election cycle about this time, and people are like, just wait until after the election, that's when you should buy a house. I mean, it's like I've been in this business for almost 25 years, and which is mind blowing to me. And it's like every single election cycle, that's what you hear. And so I was like, well, what the heck? Like, let's go see. Like, can I find a correlation here on like, is it actually good advice to wait? So I went way back, and just looked at, okay, well, like, what's the effect on mortgage rates? Like leading up to and after an election, and then same with like median home price, and just kind of take a look at like, okay, well, I mean, because it doesn't sound like awful advice. Like, let's wait and see. It turns out like I couldn't find any correlation. I looked at it as, okay, so leading up to and then a Democrat getting elected or a Republican getting elected, and I tried to look at it any way I possibly could, and could not find a meaningful correlation anywhere. And yep, it makes total sense. Wait and see what happens with the election, right? So, I mean, and I think there's a handful of problems here. It's like, okay, you're going to wait for the election. Do you know the outcome already? Like, I don't, especially this year. Good Lord. And so, it's just like, to me, it's just another of these things. And for those of us that are in the business, look, I mean, we're not trying to convince anybody to do anything. I mean, people are going to buy a house when the timing is right. But I think when I start hearing things like, hey, I'm not going to buy until after the election, I want to wait and see what's going to happen. That's like, well, okay. I mean, that's like waiting to see if an earthquake's coming. We just don't know what the outcome is going to be, So, it's just food for thought out there. But again, to me, this is one of those like myths, I guess, that are like, look, let's just wait and see. And then we'll dig in. Now, I do want to say before I get some mail from people that are like, well, you just didn't look close enough. There's plenty of times when, when a new president has had some effect. And in fact, 2020 and 2016 are two times when in 2016, when Trump got elected, we actually saw, I mean, that was one year. I looked at these for a year out from the election, because I figure, if you're waiting till the election, you're probably going to buy within a year of that election, I would think. So I looked at it, and Trump was, in 2016, when Trump got elected, that was actually a year when we saw rates actually go up. They were up 6 months in. 12 months in, they were up about 0.5 percentage point from when he got elected. And I remember that well. And it appeared to be the investment world saying, look, I mean, we got someone in here that's a businessman. They're going to run this thing as a business. This is going to be good for the economy. And remember, a booming economy is generally bad for interest rates. And that's what we got, right? So that happened, right? But it had, we just saw housing prices continue to truck along, and then, of course, then came 2020, and that was another time when all of a sudden housing prices skyrocketed. But we all know that was COVID, right? I mean, and all the things that came along with that, which were all very weird, but I wouldn't necessarily pin that on the election, right? I mean, that would have looked very different had COVID not come along, right? So anyway, I mean, of course there's those sorts of things, but generally speaking, trying to find some correlation between a Democrat or Republican or, waiting, it doesn't make sense. There's no correlation. That is not a good reason to wait. And I would say, like, if for some reason you were waiting because you thought that was the time that interest rates would come down, and I've mentioned this a number of times, if interest rates come down significantly, that's going to pull a bunch of people into the market, which is probably going to drive prices up, right? So you've got that to consider as well. So anyway, I say it all the time, if you think you're going to time the market, good luck with that. I mean, if you ever feel like you did really good timing the market, if you're being honest, it was all luck anyway, because no one knows what's going to happen with the market or rates or any of that stuff anyway. So my thing, don't wait for the, I mean, if you're waiting for something Great. But if you're waiting for the election, that's not, it's not a sound reason to wait and buy real estate. So that's all I got. I'm Bill. I'm the Franklin Loan Center, and I'll see y'all next week.